Hello. Welcome to another episode of the Teachers Lounge Talk Show. I am your host, Mrs. Piper. And before we go any further, can we please have a moment of silence for every American who lost their lives by people who were supposed to protect them? Moment of silence, please. Thank you so much, everybody. At this moment, I want to give thanks to our wonderful, wonderful host. I want to give thanks to Minister Malik Shabazz and the Get Up, Stand Up show.
Okay, so hang in there till you get your packet.
Has been
and
we have
turn it over. Let someone on your building committee know that they can help you function.
Put her on mute.
Okay, again, sorry for that. Again, we want to give thanks to Minister Malik Shabazz and the Get Up Stand Up show for the 5 years that he has shared his platform with frontline teachers. When I mean frontline, we're in the classroom. Well, we're on the computers with your children. Okay, we'd be in the classroom, but COVID. So thank you, Minister Malik Shabazz and the Get Up Stand Up show. We also want to give thanks to Mr. R.J. Watkins from WHPR TV. Hey, Junior, thank you so much for allowing us this privilege to come on your wonderful station. And many thanks to Mr. Henry Tyler, also from WHPR TV. Thank you so much for sharing, for allowing us to come into your home and talk about education, talk about what's most important, education, educational trends. On this show, that's what we talk about. Educational trends, what's going on in the world of education. So how are you, Candice? Welcome back.
I'm doing good. God,
Candice has been away for 2 weeks.
Yes, I've been away for a couple of weeks because I've really been doing a lot of work with Irby Education. I just finished up some professional development with Focus Hope. So I'm excited to be back. I'm your favorite reading specialist, Candice Williams, and I'm glad to be here.
And how are you, Brother Will?
Hey, I'm doing great, man. Fighting a good fight and wearing your husband's t-shirt.
I love it. I love that shirt.
You can't see the rest of it.
Yes.
Yeah, there's the rest.
Show it to the baby. Yes, true power. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, because,
Love it. By the way, everybody, I got to mention our sponsor. Listen, availablegeeks.com, Brother David, thank you for the 5 years that you have put up the check for this show. For all of your computer needs, your website needs, your t-shirt needs, please locate availablegeeks.com. All right, Brother Will, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to tell you my organization 4824, we're going to do a candidate speed dating. You know how speed dating works, in case you don't. But anyway, it's a candidate forum, and they're going to have 5 questions. They're going to answer 3, but they have to do it, and we're flipping the script for a change. We're telling them, you only have 3 minutes. So they have to speak on some educational issues, and we're going to do that next Saturday. It is going to be on Facebook Live, so if you look up 482 Forward, you will be able to see it. So it's all of the candidates that's running for school board, and for 482 Forward, I will be moderating this discussion.
Now, William, what date is that? What date is that?
That will be next Saturday.
Okay.
Like I said, if you go to 482 Forward on the website, it'll give you the website and it'll give you the Zoom link and the exact date and time. But it's 482 Forward. Mm-hmm.
Excellent. Well, if you want, you could just send me a little text about that. No?
I will.
Thank
But yeah, I'm just letting you know it's on our website.
We have a very special guest today. We have DPSCD DFT Vice President Lakia Wilson. Hello, Lakia. Hello. Can you hear me? Come off mute, Lakia.
Okay, fine.
Hello, how are you?
I apologize, Leslie. I'm still working.
Yes.
So I was talking to a member. I'm sorry.
Bless your heart. Listen, thank
Same,
you
Lakia.
for joining us. Lakia, your job is overwhelming, and I know your cup is always overflowing. So anytime you can take time to be with us, we appreciate it. So I just want to thank you for coming. Yes. All right, let's just get right to it. There was a school board meeting, and Will is going to give us maybe let us know what happened. And if it's okay, I would like to share a screenshot from someone's phone on the school board. So, Will, can you give us an update on what happened at the school board, please?
Well, after you do this screenshot, because Lakia spoke, the screenshot that you're about to show, Lakia spoke very well about how insulting it was for this board member to degrade teachers and parents. So that's what that screenshot pertains to. And then the other things that happened at the school board meeting, you know, I'll pick out the pertinent things and Lakia can speak on them. But she spoke very eloquently on what you're showing in the screenshot.
What you see on your monitors, ladies and gentlemen, it's a screenshot from the latest school board. And I'm going to read it just in case you can't see the small writing. I'm going to say the names too. This is Carletta J. Vaughn, that's our school board member. Technicians don't even talk like that. You know, emojis. Sherry Gay Dagnago, I hope I'm saying her last name correctly. If I'm not, I apologize. Oh, yeah, they do. Dawn Wilson Clark. And bishops don't talk like you. Coretta J. Vaughn. 3 minutes per person. Ugh. Gavin Buckley. The community can hear your comment or can see your comment. TJ Johnson. She said, ugh, I'm at a loss for words. Another school board member. If you don't want to hear the public, why claim to serve them? And from what I understand, this was going on during the school board meeting, during it. Now, Lakia, as our vice president, can I get your opinion on that? What do you think is going on here? What do you think is going on?
This is so hurtful to my spirit and to anyone who elects to work with children, and to anyone who has children. So, you know, and even if you don't have any biological children, you know children, you have children in your family, and to say that a population of students don't talk like that, we can't hold bias and judgment against students or parents or anything of that nature. I mean, it's very hurtful because she sits in a position where she is looking at curriculum. She is working with the superintendent. She's looking at budget. She's making policy for our students that affect our parents, that affect the community. And so for her to pass judgment on a child and say that a technician doesn't talk like that, we don't know what anyone talks like.
Excuse me, what specifically was she referencing? Talk like what? What was the gist of the conversation?
William, a number of students spoke at the board meeting on this past Tuesday, and they spoke very passionately about the screen time requirements that the district is expecting of our students and of our members. Right. And the students were passionate in saying that it is inhumane, it's cruel, it's not sustainable, it's too long. And she was full of emotion, the young lady were, and again, there were several students that spoke. I thought whenever our students speak, I always think they do a tremendous job because first and foremost, they had the courage to do so.
Exactly.
Yeah, so, a lot of them were our 482 forward members. I'm just saying. Go ahead.
I did a fabulous job. So I didn't understand where that comment even came from. So when she made that comment, that was just, it was totally unnecessary. It was totally unprofessional, especially coming from someone who was elected to serve our students, our parents, and our community and our members. And so that cannot happen. And I'm sad to say, William, that immediately after the meeting, she posted more disparaging comments.
I mean, what was it that was exactly said that she said students don't talk like that?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if again, because I'm listening and I'm listening to a child, right? So I'm a school counselor, training, master's degree in counseling. So I'm not passing any judgment. I'm listening to the heart, right? And that's what she should have been listening to. So I don't know what she heard. I thought the students did well. Whenever someone speaks the truth, they're speaking from the heart, and all you can do is respect it. No matter how it comes out, no matter what word was cut off, what I and was not met, you have to respect it because it's the truth.
And what were her words afterwards? Oh, I'm sorry. What you said that she posted more disparaging things.
This cannot be Cass Tech.
And let me just say, I am Cass Tech. Okay, I'm a proud graduate of Cass Technical High School. And there are some strong students that come out of DPS. But as we know, Cass Tech is second to none. And so, you know, we all make our mistakes and we have to give people grace. And like I was telling Leslie earlier today, in this virtual world, I think that mentally we're in this other space and we tend to forget, even when we're on Zoom, that, oh, I thought I was on mute when I said that. Oh, I thought my camera was off. And I feel like this is just another example of how things can happen and things get out of whack. However, that it's still not an excuse, but I do understand the frustrations that we all feel during this time. And like you were saying, I'm just glad that students did have the courage to stand up and to fight for themselves and to be their own advocates.
It sounds to me like maybe some members of our school board are just disconnected with the youth. That's what it sounds like to me. If she's making disparaging comments against our kids, disparaging comments against our parents, I am a DPSCD parent, by the way, okay? I'm offended. So I'm hoping that perhaps they were tired. Perhaps the school, there's a key over there laughing. Perhaps the school board members, they were exhausted and they just needed to distract themselves from being exhausted. I don't think the key is mine, but
you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of when you're in a staff meeting, right? And you kind of texting your coworker, like, I can't believe that they just, you know, it happens. It happens.
That is so true. Listen, my former principal, okay, he put down a mandate, no more cell phones at these meetings, because you know what was happening, and I have to say it, yeah, staff, we were on our cell phones and barely listening. So we had to be told, no more cell phones. You're going to listen, take notes, exactly, right? So I kind of get the whole, it's getting boring, I'm getting stressed out, let me go on my phone. But I just think that when you serve the public, you should always have the public's best interest at heart.
Yeah.
Well, you're kinder than I am. Is it because of a person that is supposed to be serving kids and community has the audacity to get up and say things like that and then not back off and double down on it afterwards?
Yes.
That's a disconnect.
Now, when you say she doubled down on it, now explain that. What's double down?
Because Lakia said after the meeting, she went on to say some more disparaging things. I mean, you know, people get caught in the moment. Okay, I'm sorry. Even if it's disingenuous, they apologize. But for what Lakia said afterwards, if she went on afterwards to do that, you know, then she shouldn't be there. But then I say that to say we waste too much time talking about people like that who have already exposed themselves.
Yes.
You know, actually, for the rest, we know who they are. You know, we know what we can expect and what we can't expect from them. But what are we going to do next? So Lakia, you want to talk about some actions that you think that you all are going to take, or what we should do based on what you heard from the school board meeting. I attended it until and I listened to most of the comment section, but I couldn't take any more BAM, so I cut it off.
Yeah, I heard BAM went off on that meeting. I heard he was dropping all kinds of
oh my God.
And living up to stereotypes.
Anyway, so yeah, what do you think were the most pertinent things that came out?
And if I could, I was just distracted. I'm going to apologize. I am here in the office, so I am still working, and people are here and stopping by my door. But I am totally focused now. Let me say this. There was another comment that was made by this board member that was very disheartening. Again, passing judgment, stating that the amount of certified teachers in special ed that have refused to return to the classroom is staggering. The paraprofessionals are doing the work, and it's criminal that teachers are self-serving, that these teachers are self-serving and children are not their priority. First and foremost, children are always our priority because this is our job that we dedicate our lives to. That's first and foremost. And instead of passing judgment, what you must find out is, why are people not wanting to return to the workplace? Detroit Public Schools has time and time again, and I've been in the district since 1997, failed to implement anything with fidelity and integrity. So you have to know that people are afraid, and they know that, yeah, you clean up today, custodians, and tomorrow you may not, because you get what you pay for. And so we lost our district employee custodial staff many years ago. And so these services are now contracted out. And so that quality is much different than what we had many years ago. So that's first and foremost. They don't trust. And we have been run over and run down time and time again by this district. The next thing is that our children, we know, can be super spreaders. They can carry the virus and not necessarily get ill. However, they can spread it. And they can spread it to each other. And some will come down with the virus and others not. But for our members who choose to work online, that is not an indictment against them. Because, see, you don't know if they have a husband or a wife that is undergoing chemotherapy and their immune systems are compromised. So therefore, they can't come into contact with these children. They themselves may be on some sort of chemotherapy, radiation treatments. We have organ donors who are highly susceptible. We have members who need organs, not just organ donors, but people who are in need of a transplant. People with high blood pressure, people with diabetes, people with lupus. You're talking about a population of educators who are highly susceptible to COVID. And we know that COVID-19 loves those pre-existing conditions because we have 200,000 of our fellow Americans that have lost their lives. So while we have never worked or lived through anything like this, we are learning more and more about COVID. And so guess what? Our members you have to take care of yourself. We have children, we have aging parents, we have spouses. Everyone has to, and including our students. Over 80% of our parents have chosen to keep their children at home. So that right there lets you know it's not just the teachers electing to work at home. The parents are choosing to keep their children at home as well, because that is the safest place. So I think what needs to be done is this community needs to hold our elected board members accountable for the things, for all of these policies that they pass. This schedule is absolutely unrealistic to keep a 5 or 6, even a 12th grader online for 8 hours with the lunch in between. That is not sustainable. And so now they are admitting that that the schedule is aggressive. It's very aggressive.
They did.
We want and while our children have low test scores, lower than some other communities. I'm not gonna say all the communities, I'm gonna say some, because our students are the best, and they do the best with what they have. We have to understand that we have to meet them where they are, and you can't pile their plate up so high that they don't get anything, right? And so that's just like when you have someone that was in prison and food was withheld from them. You don't just throw all the food at them because they haven't eaten in 2-3 months or 2-3 weeks or however long it was. You have to piecemeal, if I can say that, you have to piecemeal it to them. You have to build them up. So it was not well thought out. And then the district said, well, we'll have focus groups to figure out a schedule. Well, this is after the fact. And this is all that the DFT was asked. This is all that DFT was asking for. And do this sort of research on the front end.
Right. And I kind of wanted to like piggyback on that. So one of my really good friends, she teaches at Bunch Academy. So she's going in person. And so she said, first day of school, 5 kids, they're eating breakfast and lunch in the classroom, face masks off. However, they're doing their social distancing and whatnot. By this week, her numbers tripled, well, almost tripled. So she went from 5 to having 13 students in her class. And so I just had conversations with her, like, how are you feeling? Are you feeling comfortable? How are the kids feeling? And so she talked about how she's a little bit nervous as far as, okay, I'm hoping that the custodian is cleaning up. I'm taking my own precautions myself, but just the fact that what is it going to look like as far as data-wise? Because I think about reading and I think about literacy, I think about resources. So for the students who are going in person, are they going to end up having a higher quality education than those who are virtual? And so now when I think about the academic achievement gap, now is widened, not because of, our fault, so to speak, but because of the fact of the lack of preparation. And so for those who are virtual, are we finding ways to say, okay, hey, I'm making sure that you guys have workbooks. I'm making sure that you guys have decodables, you have reading material, so you can come off screen during the asynchronous time and you actually have something to do. That's what I'm curious about.
Sure. Well, I can say I'm an online teacher, right?
We're passionate, y'all.
Right? So I'm really happy about that. I'm all excited about it, right? And I can say that I do my best to engage my students. There's a lot of reading that goes on. So I do my best to give the characters voices and read with intrigue so that they could, if they don't want to follow along, they can at least listen to a really good story because I'm reading it with a lot of passion. And I do upload asynchronous work, of course, and I do give them time to work on it on their own. However, my classes are an hour and a half. And they're like maybe 45 kids in the class. And I find that I need that entire hour and a half to get through the instruction because, I'm teaching about citations and explaining your citations. And that can be trying when you're not face to face, So there's a constant, they're constantly looking at the screen. Then I'll give them a break and then they could do the asynchronous work where they can get away from the computer. Now it's interesting, you mentioned the supplies. I can say that at my school, they were giving out supplies between like 5 and 7 in the evening. So parents could come up and pick out or pick up their journal books and their math books, whatever resources and supplies that they needed for the classroom. Now, I still have students that claim that they don't have their journal book. Here's the good news. The district, as you go on and you're clicking the buttons, the curriculum instruction buttons, one of the icons allows you to put their document in Word. So if a child doesn't have a journal, they still have access to the work. And all I have to do is upload it onto Schoology. They have to go get it from Schoology. So they may not have the actual book, but they have the text that we read that day. Unfortunately, they can't read ahead, all right, because they don't have the book. But they can definitely, if they don't have the journal book or they don't have the math book, I'm gonna keep with me, they don't have the journal book, they can definitely just download and just read on the screen any material that they don't have. But I am doing my best to get them away from the computer sometimes. It's difficult because I don't want to leave it, But something as simple as this, and now you can close your computers and I'm gonna give you 3 minutes to work on the questions, close your computers. I'm gonna come back in 3 minutes. And they're working in 3 minutes. Meanwhile, I'm taking roll or doing whatever. And when I come back, you know what to do, fine. The kids are more alert. You know, they're more, oh, I want to answer. They're hitting that raise hand button. So I would like to say that when teaching, I highly recommend for all online teachers, you have got to find an area in that time that you have them to give them a break. Not too long. You don't want to say 15 minutes, go ahead. For me, work on it for 3 minutes, and then I'm doing something else. Then we come back. And for whatever reason, they really seem to want to answer. They want to. And I'm finding that those little incremental breaks. And that's what I really recommend for all online teachers. Give your kids little incremental breaks where they can go away from the computer, okay? And go away can mean they just close it. They could still hear you, okay, but maybe they're turned around so they can work on something. They can finish the answer and then come back to the computer. I find that is helping my kids, at least.
So my question is that, you know, as Lakia is kind of referring to, was there a universal template or some kind of document that was shared to say, hey, this is how our days are going to flow. This is what you can do in order to have a brain break. These are ways that you can engage your learners online.
The district sent a schedule that allowed for, I want to say, a 10-minute morning routine, maybe breakfast, bell work. And then after that, it was 60 minutes, 60 minutes, 60 minutes, 60 minutes, lunch, 60 minutes, 60 minutes, 60 minutes, 50 minutes, 55 minutes. Very aggressive, unrealistic, not healthy to try to sit and my child is in the district. And so we're sitting at the computer and his teacher is attempting to do this. And he's 5 and of course antsy, and he's getting frustrated, and I'm trying to keep him at task, you know, especially with the teacher, because she's working her fingers to the bone. So they sent, this was the initial schedule. And then just this past Sunday night, they sent a memo to all the members to say, you know, please be flexible and allow time for asynchronous learning. And, but there was no schedule. There was no schedule for folks to follow. And so there will be gray area all over the district as principals will interpret that however they interpret that, right? And so some principals will, I'm sure, still try to hold their staff to that other expectation. So again, this is our work. This is what we do. We have to get it in writing, because if not, they just,
But Tia, let me ask you,
they just do their thing.
But what I don't understand, when I'm hearing you talk about the schedule, okay, 50 minutes, 50 minutes, 50 minutes, 50 minutes, and it's a very aggressive. It sounds aggressive. Now, we're adults. We have common sense. We all have degrees. Wasn't someone saying, hey, that's not a good idea? Didn't someone, so wait, and I know our mighty union did. Now, wait. When you said, when our president, Terrence Martin, said, when our wonderful, beautiful Vice President, Lakia Wilson, said, wait a minute, that's not a good idea. We are educators. We know about this. What did they said you were wrong?
Yes, yeah, so where's the checks and balances?
Were you on the board meeting last Tuesday night just passed?
I felt super.
Because I made mention of what they said to me, which was hurtful to me. It was an insult to me, because as they were going through this schedule, I said, this is not possible. This is not sustainable. This is, our children can't do it. Our parents can't do it. Our teachers can't do it. It's unfair. And what was said to me was that I have a problem with you, that you are lowering the expectations for Black and brown children. And I said, absolutely not. I would never lower the expectation because mine is one of them. I'm one of them. However, you have to be realistic. And to expect for someone, let's just go with development, right? And so we know that our 4 to 6 year olds, that their attention span may run 4 to 7 minutes, and adults' attention span maybe 15. And so you really think that someone can attend to task for one subject, and they're 7 years old, and they may be ADHD, and there may be other children in the environment that's on their computers too, or a parent working from home on their computer too, all trying to work together and manage this cumbersome schedule? Impossible. We want and the district has an awesome program, Candice. They have workbooks. I went and picked up all my child's workbooks. I went and picked up his Connected Futures device, even though I have my own, and he
you're on mute, Cleo. There you go. Go ahead.
All of my devices sync, and so if
you're fine. Go. You say you bought your own. You have your own. Go ahead.
I bought my own, but it's just still very, very, very difficult, very, very stressful, and it's not fair. And what I'm worried about as a counselor, all of this that we're heaping on to our children and to our parents, what is the aftermath in exchange for trying to have regular life during a pandemic? Are we on the other side of this going to see post-traumatic stress disorder, anxieties, eating disorders, social phobias, lack of socialization skills, all sorts of things are going to be on the other side of COVID. And so when we heap all of these expectations that are not realistic on our children and our parents, there are some, and even myself, we'll try to attempt it, but you have to, once you get those feelings that this isn't right, you have to back off because it becomes not fair. And so when we look at other school districts, our neighboring school districts, not one of them has a schedule that's anywhere close to ours, not one. Yep. And so the insult that was hurled at me that I was lowering expectations is almost, racist of them to require triple the work, knowing that our children have less.
Right. And then Lakia, speaking to that, so I have 2 boys, 5 kindergarten, 11 6th grade, and so they're in West Bloomfield School District. Now I decided to allow them to do the hybrid, so they go in person in the afternoon, and in the morning they have virtual, which is the specials. So the specials is only like 40 minutes, and what I've been noticing too is that I'm like, oh, y'all off already? You know what I'm saying? Like the teacher's like, all right, we're gonna cut it 15 minutes early, because the way that they look at it is that we would rather for it to be effective, so we're gonna get as much bang as we can, but we're not gonna drag it out, even though we're supposed to go until this time. But between the specials, there's like an hour-and-a-half break. Between the time that they have to be at school in the afternoon, there's like 45 minutes for lunch. And even so, looking at the way that they set it up in the virtual, they were looking at some of the data, the science behind how long can a child sit in front of a screen, what's the recommended time, and we're going to take that research and we're going to use that, and we're going to structure our online learning around the research. Not just, hey, this is how long you're supposed to be in school in a regular day, so this is what you're going to do online. But I totally agree. So at the end of the day, we understand the data in different demographics. However, it is punitive to force a child to have to be online in front of a screen that long.
Not to mention the teacher that has to mandate that you sit in front of that computer, and then here comes the principal and the kid has his head down. Yeah. And then what do you mean? Why does he have his head down? Because, you know, you have to actually answer questions like that. Why does that person have their head down? Maybe they're tired. But so it's interesting. It's interesting the way this is turning. Now, I'll say this, Lakia. And everybody, I'm going to share my screen again. And Sherry Day, I'm sorry that I keep messing up her name, but it is no disrespect. I want to share this screen because she has proposed something that's very interesting, and I want to get everyone's opinion on it. This is Sherry's post, and make a long story short, and it's probably going to run weird for me a second, but all right, let me just, this is what she posted. This is Sherry Gay Dagnogo. She said, this is a bill in the Education Committee along with Representative Brand Piquet. The goal is to give teachers a voice in the policy-making process. Please review HB 5833 and 5844 and provide your feedback. Also, I would like educators to consider testifying on the importance of teachers' voice. Okay, so I am so curious. What do you think of this push to have teachers be in the policy-making process? I don't know if that's ever been done. I know I've been asked to fill out surveys. I've been asked to sit down and listen, but no one's ever asked me, like, you know, face-to-face, you're on this board and we want to know your opinion. So do you think Miss Sherry Gay Dagnogo is going in the right direction with her?
Can I say, please. I'm sorry. I think introducing a bill like this is a waste of time because, first of all, DFT, when I was there, and they're still doing it, they already said what they're going to do and what they're not going to do. And the waste of time to wait for a bill to come through to say, can teachers have a voice in the way things are going? Teachers don't need a bill for that. They need to just speak up and say, this is what we think. And as a teachers union, this is what we're going to do. And I'm going to have Lakia speak more than that. This is a waste of time. It's just like it's another waste of time to form these focus groups. It's a waste of time. We know what the problem is. And the more we wait for bills like this to be passed and other focus groups, the DFT and other teachers already have a plan. They already have an idea. Let's stop wasting time. So, Lakia, go ahead.
All right, William. I thought you'd be like, yeah, I think it's a great, yes. I'm shocked, Will, that you were not on board with this. I'm shocked.
I think it's a great idea to have teachers at the table. However, we should have been at the table. You can't make a decision about other entities, other professions. You know, when we go to the doctor's office and they say, oh, you need to lose weight or you need to stop eating so much salt. We don't say, you don't tell me what to do and then I'm gonna make up my own rules, right? No, we don't do that. We listen to the professional. That's his job. He's saving our life. And so we need to listen to our teachers. We already have a Michigan Department of Education made up of educators and folks who support education, K-12, K-14, higher ed. And so those voices need to be at the table because that's their job. And so I think it's a nice concept. It's late. So, you know, no issue to Sherry, Representative Dagnogo. I just wish that her counterparts would just utilize all of the strong educators that they have at their disposal. That there should be something ongoing because you can't do anything about us without us. And this is why we get things like the evaluative tool and that is punitive at best. And this is how you get a schedule that a robot could not even perform.
Right.
This is how you get those things. You can't operate in a bubble and think that it's going to apply in the real world, because it just does not.
So all three of you have already given good ideas. I mean, Candice.
Candice, what do you think?
Well, what I was going to say, now correct me if I'm wrong, Lakia, but last year, October, they had Detroit Now, I think it was CNBC. You were there speaking, right?
Yes.
And you spoke to my soul. You spoke to my soul. So I was so excited to be there, right? And what you were saying was that this goes back to, why are we not respected in education as professionals? Why are we not looked at as professionals? And this is another prime example of all of the crap that we have to take, right? Mm-hmm. As you had spoke about how many of them don't respect us because they don't feel like they have to, because they're looking at how we're being treated. So it's like, why would I respect them when nobody else respects them? You know, we don't have a voice. Well, we try to have a voice. They kind of give us a voice, but they don't listen. Right. And so, you know, I just want to say thank you for speaking for all the educators last year. And as you're doing right now, you're standing up for us and you're advocating, because this is what it's really about. It's really for our kids.
Yes. Yes.
I just want to say that. Yeah.
No, thank you. I'm blessed to say that I had a great childhood and educational experience, from Presbyterian school to private school to public school, in Detroit and in the suburbs. So I have seen it all, and am better off for it. And it's sad to say that the education that I received in the 80s up until 1992, when I graduated high school, does not compare to what these children are getting. They're getting so much less, simply because teachers don't have any autonomy. They are just, you know, do this curriculum, stick to the script. There is no variance. This is it. And you cannot have a well-rounded child like that. So I feel for these children, and it behooves our parents to get more involved, not just with our local school boards. We got to show these people that we matter, right? And so we need to remember all these comments and policies that they pass and vote them up out of there. That's the bottom line. Let them know, I heard what you said, and I'm going to remember that. I'm a voter. I live in your district. And guess what? And I have friends, and I have church members, and I'm going to share this information with everyone who loves me, and we're all going to vote you out.
Now that's the power of politics. That's the power of politics right there.
Yeah, we will see change.
So I want to ask this one other question, Lakia, and everyone else, you can definitely give a comment on that. I'm going to share this screen, and I'm going to ask my question. This is actually from one of our DPS, one of our brothers. Attention, all virtual teachers. You are a guest in your students' homes. You cannot and should not control what's going on in their homes. Doesn't matter what's going on there. You can't control that. Don't get down on yourselves. Just do the best to reach the students the best you can. Now, I'm going to come back and I'm going to say this.
Ooh, Leslie.
Boy, you probably know I'm going.
I got an answer for this. I'm ready.
Okay, now wait a minute. I don't know if you heard about this. I did try to play the video, but the sound wasn't working. Candice saw a little bit of it. In Colorado, this 7th grader, about 11 years old, it's a true story. He was in his online class, in his online art class. This 11-year-old boy, who just happens to be black, teacher happens to be white, happened to have a gun, a little toy gun, a little BB gun, little water gun, whatever it was. The teacher who saw it didn't say, oh, put it down, or at least turn his camera off, called the cops. The police went to this young man's house, arrested him. This young man, this young boy, this American child, he now has a record, okay? Can we please talk about before we leave, because we have about 10 minutes left, can we please talk about the parameters of an online teacher, what we should and shouldn't do, what we should and shouldn't report? Can we please talk about that?
Sure. And I hate to go back to this same topic, but our board member, Corletta Vaughn, also had posted that our students weren't prepared at home, and that they weren't dressed appropriately for online school, and that our parents weren't ready. And I'm summarizing that, but that's basically what it meant. Again, I am a school counselor, but I'm also a teacher, and teachers take an oath, just as doctors take an Hippocratic oath. We take an oath as well to not be biased and to not judge. And so this is why we just believe that our cameras should not be mandated to be on, because you are, first of all, we're educating during a pandemic. This is not, oh, I'm choosing to do homeschooling and I want my camera on. No, no, no. We're forced to work like this because there is a virus out here that is claiming the lives of any and everyone, right? That comes in contact with it. It has that potential. So we have to let that go, that we can just say, because I'm the teacher or because I'm the superintendent, I want your cameras on. We don't know where that child's camera is. Everyone is not on a computer. Some folks are on their telephones. Some are on small tablets. Some are on iPads. And so when they're on these devices, they could be in their bedroom. They could be in the basement. They could be in the dining room, in the kitchen. We don't know what those areas look like. And the same for our members as well. And so you may not want people to see your spouse, your children, your siblings, you even. You know, you really just don't know. And so that pressure should be removed. However, as an educator and as a counselor, we are mandated reporters. Now, if she had an issue with seeing this gun, and I forget if it was it real or was it a toy?
Toy. It was a toy. It was a toy.
So that's a tough situation because toys look like toys. Now they have a little orange mark, the guns, they have a little mark on them if they're a toy gun.
I'm going to get that video.
It was plastic, it was different colors, it was obvious. Are you going to
at this moment, I'm trying to find a picture of that gun. Hold on.
After she shows that, Lakia, are you going to speak on Derek Holland's post? I know you said you were going to speak on that.
Yes. So, you know, he's just asking that we are guests. Teachers are guests. We should not be making that a requirement. We should not be pushing that. But that really does not come from us. That comes from principals writing teachers, telling them, turn their cameras on. That comes from the administration. That comes from the district. That does not come from the union. We don't believe in that because, again, it borders on invading people's privacy. You don't know who's in the background. You don't know what you're going to see. I was just speaking with a teacher. Her child's father walked by. He had his shirt off and he had his shorts on. He was dressed, but his shorts were low. And so guess what? The kids thought he was naked because all they saw was a little plumber's, you know what, right?
Okay.
And so, you know, the class is like, oh, you know, but no, again, cameras should not be invading people's homes and lives. I can still teach my lesson. You can still hear me. You know your children, you know their voices. No one is trying to deceive anyone, but we need to simply respect people and respect children for who they are and quit trying to run with our agenda. I'm reading here that this gun is green and black with a bright orange tip and the words zombie hunter. I'm really saddened by this. And this was a betrayal of this student. It really was a betrayal of this student.
Yep. And it's really sad. And that's why I wanted to ask my professionals, my friends who are professionals, when is it appropriate to say, okay, I need to call the authorities? Now, of course, if you see the mom getting beat up in the back or she's getting, Okay, I can understand that. But I would just think that you don't want to use your position to jam anybody.
So
I would have called the parent. I'd said, listen, mom, your son is playing with a BB gun. I wouldn't have called the cops. I don't understand.
But I want to make sure, right? But before I jump the gun, you said that the boy was African American.
Yes.
And the teacher was
what?
That's all we gotta say, right? Knowing about what's going on right now, but this is part of it. And when we talk about systemic racism, we know it plagues in every foundation and infrastructure in the United States. And so, Lakia, I wanted to get back to, they want the cameras on. I'm playing devil's advocate. They want the cameras on because they want to have some kind of sense of accountability for the student. How can a teacher still have that accountability without trying to control the environment so much? So how can I make sure that as a teacher, that you're in tune, that you're listening, that you're writing it down or whatever it is?
And so we can't really guarantee that because they're not in front of us. So we got to remember we're in their homes. And just like this young man has this toy gun, the rule at school is don't bring guns to school, right? Not even play ones. But we got to remember he's at home. And even with my own, he's online and I'll look up and he's got Paw Patrol in his hand. Or, you know what I'm saying? He's got something that he should not have in his, a transformer. And he's showing the teacher his he wants her to see it and make a comment about it. So we got to understand that they're, and I'm angry, right? Put that down. But we can't get angry because they are at home. And this is, if he was at home, he would be playing with his toy gun. So we got to take all of that into consideration before we, you know, if he wasn't taking that weapon and pointing it at the screen and, you know, making gestures that he was going to harm anybody, then guess what? He's at home. Can you please put it away? That's all you can do is ask. And so we know that the children, Candice, will play games and mute the teacher and they're not listening, and turn their cameras off. And there's only so much that we can do in a classroom management when we're not in a classroom. That's the difficulty here.
Right.
And this is why we know without a shadow of a doubt that online learning will never replace face-to-face instruction.
Correct.
Because then the boss will say that it can.
I would listen. I have to say this, Lakia, and I am not a Betsy DeVos fan. I don't even know that lady. Okay, but I can say I like online learning. Even though
wait, speak up, Leslie.
Oh yes, I like online learning. I like it. I have found that the students that want to learn, they're staying on point. With my students that used to get in trouble last year because they were constantly being distracted from learning, they were constantly distracting others from learning. Right now, they are my star pupils. Most of them boys. All right, they are rising up. They are finding their voice. They are not getting into trouble. My young Black children, my young Black boys, they are finding their voice. They're finding success. And I've even said to them, you know, you have been doing very well on this platform. You need to stick with this because you haven't been in trouble once. And you know what they say? Yeah, you're right, Miss Piper, you're right. I see the benefits of online learning. Don't get me wrong. The student that doesn't want to learn, they're just going to fall back and not learn. But they can't distract anybody else. I like it. And I really pray that Dr. Beatty allows teachers that are unionized and they want to stay at home to have that choice. Because I'm telling you, I think parents would go for it because I'm telling you, I'm seeing answers from our children. And I mean, the way they're thinking now is really going through the roof. And why? There's nobody in their ear nudging them and trying to send them a text and, you know, trying to push them. You know, they can be focused if they choose to be. So I'm an advocate for online learning. I am. I didn't think I'd be, you know, because I'm a whole brain language. I'm a whole brain instructor. I want to throw the ball, get kids up and moving. But listen, I see the benefits.
And so since we're on that, I guess we can start speaking our last piece, because I know we're running out of time, right? So right now for me, as a reader specialist, I'm running online virtual, assessments. I'm assessing, I'm benchmarking, seeing where our kids are. And it's tough, okay? Because we got mom, dad right here giving kids answers, right? And so now my data is skewed because I don't know if you're really on level or if you're not. And so now with the read by grade 3 law, I don't know what's going to happen with that, Lakia, but I'm like, put all that on pause, because it wouldn't be fair, right?
The word pause. I am so sorry to stop this conversation, but we're out of time. The time always fast here on the Teacher's Lounge. It always does. I want to thank Sister Lakia. Thank you for being on the front line. Thank you for fighting.
Thank you.
To keep it up. You're in my prayers. Thank you for your strength, your determination, and your tenacity. Thank you so much. Candice, Will, thank you so much. We'll see you next week. Brother Donovan, prayerfully you'll be back. Thank you so much. We will see you next week here on the Teacher's Lounge. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Very nice.
Ask next time, Candice.
Yeah, right?
What's that? You said what now?
Write your